Welcome to Tea with Tori. I'm your host, Tori, and today the tea is hot. What's up, spillers? Welcome to another Wednesday with Tea with Tori. I am your host, Tori, and I have a very special guest here today. I have Michelle.
Thank you. Hey, Tori.
Michelle, please let the people know who you are, what you do, and what your calling is essentially.
Hi. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Tori. She's amazing. I'm so grateful. My name is Michelle. I'm also known as Lumina Ori. I'm a healer. I'm an Akashic Records reader, a Reiki master, a biofield tuning specialist, and psychic. And I love to make people feel back to their queen and king selves. That's my job.
I love that. So I know that's not where you started. Can you speak a little bit about your background and what essentially led you to a more holistic Eastern, medicine for healing?
Thank you. Yes. Long story. Actually, I am a woman who has a long-term mindfulness recovery, I like to say. So my original career, which was years ago, was in addiction treatment. I was actually a counselor in mental health field, helping those that are struggling, like myself, to get free from addictions and all the crap that comes along with it. And did that for about 10 years and felt a tremendously deep calling all along that time of connecting with people and healing. So I was that hippie counselor. I was the one that was always banging bowls and teaching people how to meditate.
What's she doing in there?
Pretty much. They were like, she's got to be on something. I wasn't at the time, I promise.
Just sage.
Totally. Sage down.
Just a little Palo Santo.
Lots of Palo Santo. Ooh, yeah. But yeah, no, I was always on the fringe, and I noticed how much it really helps people, and it seemed like it was something missing out of treatment. I always felt it was a disservice to see people as just symptoms and to see people as just labels and to not look at the whole picture. We're so incredible. And so when I noticed I would do meditative stuff for clients or just have them learn to breathe or listen to a nice sound, it would have such profound effects on their ability to show up, even if it was just for that moment, for that day, for that hour, for that session, that I was like, this is where I need to be. So I started getting into it and went to an Akashic Records reader. Yeah, that'll change your life.
No, for real. For real. That we literally... So, back it up. We were supposed to shoot this podcast a week ago. And I had just gotten back from Puerto Rico and I was sick. Don't want to get out of bed, hurts to open your eyes, sick. And I was like, hey, I'm so sorry, but can I reschedule? And she sent me the nicest message. And like everyone else that I had rescheduled was just like, yeah, of course, girl, feel better. But just the way that she spoke, she was like, and would you mind if I did a bit of a reading on you? And I was like, yes, please. I know I'm not just sick for no reason. I totally believe that on top of physical germs that exist, that at the end of the day, your vibration is low or you have something that needs to happen within your body and your spirit, that it's not just the physical body that needs to be healed. So the fact that I'm sick and you're saying that you feel called to heal me makes complete sense to me right now.
Absolutely.
So yeah, let's do it. So we literally before this podcast did an entire session and it was incredible. I feel a physical difference, which is what a lot of the naysayers will be like, oh, well, what did you feel? And I'm like, I actually feel lighter. My body feels lighter. The only other thing I can equate it to that it's oh, it doesn't make full sense, but it makes sense is when you get a lymphatic drainage massage and you're like, oh, I just feel lighter in my body. Or you go to the chiropractor, you get adjusted. I just feel better in my body. That's how I feel after this. And she barely touched me. Yeah. She touched around me mostly.
Yeah. It's all frequency and energy work. And the messages that I got from this reader, and she was this amazing woman that initially, girl, when I went to her, my friends were like, we're all doing a reading. I was the one person out of all of my friends, and they were all my yogi friends because I was doing Bikram yoga back then, just religiously, totally dedicated in my Buddhist practice. There's no such thing as psychics and willy-nilly. It's all up to me. It's free will, blah, blah, blah. Because I went to that extreme, of course, right? And everyone's like, no, we're paying for you to do this session. You shut up and just get in there. This woman, oh my God, just like you experienced it, the same thing. Akashic Records readers are no joke.
No.
She laid it out for me. She confirmed stuff that I was like, were you following me?
Yeah.
Were you following me not in this lifetime and in other lifetimes? What is up? Intense. And literally just told me I'm going to be ending the career as an addictions counselor within months. And the reading was in August. And in December, she's like, by the end of this year, you're done. You're no longer going to be in that. Your soul is aligned to be what you're going to be. Just keep on the path and stop resisting. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about? And my resistance, of course, was fear, scarcity. How am I going to support myself? I've been doing a successful career as a counselor for over a decade. You know, I was specialized in my field. I was teaching codependency and intimacy issues. Like, I was in that. I was the kind of counselor that I'd walk into a treatment center and be like, boom, this is what I do. This is what I specialize. This is what I bring to your table. This is what I want to get paid. And to have someone say to me, you're going to walk away from that career, you actually have something bigger for you. And I was at that point in my 40s because I got sober in my 30s. I'm going to be 49 in a couple of months, by the way. Oh, wow. So a testament to being vegan. Hello.
I was about to say, are you vegan? Do you drink sea moss? Like, that's my parents swear by, too. My mom looks 30, I swear to God. And my parents look like they got into a time machine since they started being vegan. It's insane. Yeah. Literally, I'm like, you look younger than when you were like raising me in the house.
Yeah, you're eating alive food. So, and that's a whole other topic too. We can look into that whole frequency. It's incredible.
Are you raw vegan or just
I'm
vegan?
a whole food plant-based vegan for the most part. Every so often I'll do like the cheeses, but super rarely, or the tofus. I like tofu. I do like tofu. Okay. So that stuff I'll do, but mostly it's
like lentil protein, bean protein.
Lentil protein, pea protein, quinoa, hemp seeds. I'm a nut freak. I am a date freak. I am just like, you give me what is alive, because I'm alive.
You would have loved this trip I was just on. I literally the chef that was on my most recent podcast that you were just talking about, the Nourishing Cocina. Yes. She was the one cooking for us.
Ooh.
It was amazing. Literally, everyone was like, "It's vegetarian, it's vegan." I was like, just eat it. By the end, they were all like, "Can we hire you?"
Right.
She sells like sauces. They were like, "Where do we buy them?" Obsessed.
Yeah.
And literally, we had a curry night, and it was all with like coconut milk and lentils and chickpeas, and that was it, and rice. No meat at all. I kept hashtagging no animals were harmed in the making of this dinner.
I like to say my body's not a graveyard today. Thank you very much.
Literally.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you feel that. It's incredible. So, but yeah, I mean, to go back to that was just like, how am I going to do this? This is incredible to actually step into this whole thing and to dive into it. I'll start a whole new career. Like I said, in August, she said, I'm going to be ending this by the end of the year. And every single treatment center I was working for at that time, Tori, they were closing. Their doors were closing. 3 treatment centers in that lapse of time. Closed. Doors closed. So Source was like, would you quit it? Just listen. Just stop being in the field of treatment. I got something bigger for you.
That's because I feel like when you get like an Akashic reading, it's kind of like, if Source and you both have a walkie-talkie, and then the Akashic reading puts you on the same channel, so you can't ignore like the message anymore because it's getting blared at you. It's not like on one of the frequencies on one of the channels. You got tuned to the same channel, and it's time now. Mm-hmm. That's why you even went to get an Akashic reading, and you were not allowed to not get it. Exactly. Like that wasn't even an option for you that day.
At some point, your soul literally says, yo, the spirit in this timeline is not listening to my soul, my higher purpose. Mm-hmm. Let me give you a big-ass awakening.
Literally.
That's literally what happens. And when we're in the Akashic, you're speaking to your soul, and you're speaking to Source, you're speaking to your spirit guides. And they're all dedicated for your highest evolutionary good. And it's all based on the frequency of love. So you know it's the truth.
Literally.
Which is wonderful. So, yeah, lo and behold, I just delve. At 40-something years old, I left my career, and I went into, like, not knowing what the hell I was doing for years, Tori. I was like, what the fuck? What decision do I do? And I had started pulling myself away little by little by little from just being around addiction itself and treatment, because I started to realize it was really draining for me. And I got hired through a friend of mine that connected me to a woman that is now one of my dearest friends. She is another divine creatrix. Her name is Karen Clark. And she was also in recovery, too. At the time I stayed in recovery, too. I was also 11 years sober at that point. Stone cold sober. Not a single lick of anything in me. And decided to go work for a cannabis store, which is what Karen had opened. She opened a CBD store. So it was hemp, right? And to me, at the moment, I was like, it's cannabis. It's devil's weed. I can't do that. That's against everything treatment-wise. But I began to learn about the endocannabinoid system and cannabidiol, and that hemp is really the medicine, and THC is just the activator on some receptors, and how our body thrives with cannabis and hemp. And that's one of the reasons why I feel so amazing. I took care of my hyperthyroidism with that. I no longer have that. Thank you, cannabis. Thank you, hemp. You know, it's like I was able to walk through my menopause gracefully without needing hormone replacements and all this other crap, because I was able to use plant medicine and take care of my endocannabinoid system properly, and I'm thriving from that.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, one thing the Akashic Records tells me over and over again, Tori, is that it's like, when we agree to come down to this planet, my love, we make the agreement to that host planet to operate within the natural laws of the host planet. That means that host planet has all the medicine for us, right? And so it's the powers that be that want to deny us that sovereignty and that right and that connection of really stepping into our power with using the environment around us, with using our own intuition, with using our own ability to co-create and manifest, you know? So, yeah.
I love that. I had this episode where I was talking to my friend Soul, and we were talking about addiction and kind of about how we feel like Western medicine has really let everyone down when it comes to addiction, and people being put back into rehab so quickly after, or back on drugs right after. And my point that I was making, that I seem to get a lot of hate for actually online, was I don't feel like it's because we addressed the problem of why that person got addicted to something in the first place and why they're trying to escape. Because an addict will become an addict regardless of what drugs you put around them if they're still trying to escape the same problem. So it has to come from some place of wanting to escape and escapism. And I feel like then that also gets tied into, like, you have Western medicine also failing women, and we have so many healers and so many psychics that are locked in mental institutions and labeled as crazy and labeled as schizophrenic, which, yes, there are actual mental disorders. I do understand that. However, there's a lot that gets misdiagnosed just because it's unknown or because it's scary. And I feel like that even goes back to, like, the Salem witch trials of just not understanding something and being scared of it. And I feel like that's still something we face today. Everyone fears the unknown. You still have people like, don't smoke weed and don't do shrooms and don't go to the chiropractor. Like, I even have people, when I say, like, oh, I'm going to the chiropractor on Instagram, they're like, oh my God, you're doing that? Like, that's so stupid. Fake doctors. Like, what? And I'm blessed enough to have grown up with my grandfather started one of the first chiropractic offices in the Northeast. And, like, that's where I come from, is, like, my mom, I have no immunizations, and going through that and, like, having her, like, actually have to prove to the school system why. So many things that, like, I'm so grateful to have gone through before I was even able to make decisions for myself, because in my lineage I come from people that were already fighting so hard to be holistic and trying to be so natural. Like, the first 3 years of my life I was a vegetarian because my mom was. Like, whole house was a vegetarian house. And there's just, like, so many things that I feel like I was introduced to before I could make decisions for myself that shape, even to this day, who I am and what I think and what I'm open to. So I feel like to really be able to become your higher self and really accept who you are is to accept whether you were given an easier path or not, that is the path that you were destined to be on. And that's like kind of one of the things that I've had to get okay with in myself, of like, even when it's not going the way I think it's supposed to, knowing that I already made this deal.
Yeah.
Like, I already signed this contract essentially with Source. Like, this is what I'm going to go through, or else I wouldn't be going through it. And there's a lot of stuff that I don't think I would have gotten through if I wouldn't have had that understanding, and I wouldn't have been raised with law of attraction. My mom, just be spiritual. Your dad's Christian, I'm Jewish, that's how we were raised, but both of our churches shunned us for loving each other, so just believe in something. And through that, it gave me the ability to kind of interchange the word God for universe and vice versa. And like, when I see a post that's like religious and it's like, God will always show you the way, I don't need to attach it to some like man that's like making rules and deciding things. Like, God can be source energy. Like, I believe God is the ocean. Like, God is the air that we breathe. Like, that's the universe. That's this one and the same. Like, you're going to tell me that you understand how this floating rock is keeping all these people on it? Like, you know how we got here? You were there? Like, no one knows. So at the end of the day, like, just the ability to believe and know that there's something else, that it's not all on you, that you're not alone, regardless of how you may feel in that way. That's just an important thing to accept, is like, you made this contract already. Yeah. You decided this.
And look for, exactly, when you're able to have that perspective, like you're saying, it's like you're able to really absorb the lesson and see it from, what I like to tell people is, you go from the 3-dimensional thinking of like, it's you against me, it's them against, it's oppositional, right? To 4th dimension, when just like you begin to start going, okay, what am I learning from this? You've got your drama, I get it, but what am I learning from this interaction? 5th dimension consciousness is when you start going, whoa, we just signed up for something to level up on. What are we learning, both of us? Because someone's taking the hit for me to level up, or I'm taking the hit for them to level up.
Yeah.
But we're both leveling up.
Technically,
right? And sometimes we don't recognize those that, when we come into this world or into this timeline, I like to say, with addiction issues, what I've come to learn from anecdotally from working with clients, and not only from as a counselor, but as a psychic and a reader and in this field as healing, is that addictions and trauma are energetic possessions. They are energetic possessions that will go to sleep. They do not get cut until the person is ready to cut them. They'll go to sleep. And this is oftentimes why I would see this in treatments or in recovery too, is, and this is going to probably piss off some people, which I'm totally okay with, because that means we can talk and have a session.
Literally.
Figure it out, okay?
Let's work through why that makes you so angry.
Because that's a lesson for you to learn and integrate. Boom. But what I've learned is that when, unless you cut that cord, it's going to stay asleep. And how does it stay asleep? An energy has to stay sustaining itself in some way by siphoning from you energetically. That means it's going to show up in energetic or psychic attacks, which with people in recovery, it tends to immediately go with psychic attacks. There's 3 ways of going psychic attacks, right? Self, others, or environment. I was telling you this earlier.
Literally.
Right? And one of the ways it does for people that are addicted and in recovery and trauma-based is that the psychic attacks are on the self. I'm worthless. I'm not good enough. I'm not lovable. I can't reach out. I can't ask for help. All these things that lower your frequency, lower your vibration. And it gets to the point for the person that's in recovery that they have come to an understanding in this timeline that, my addiction has ruined me and I can no longer live that way, but I'm also dealing with this thing that's siphoning from me and I don't know how to get rid of it, but I need to discharge the frequency that it's building up in my body of anger, resentment, fear, scarcity, blah, 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 all the things that make you feel like shit, right? So it'll show up in ways of like, they may have been a alcoholic, but now they're going to become a shopaholic, a sexaholic, a foodaholic, a blah, blah, blah.
It moves to something else.
Exactly. That's how you know that possession is still alive, but asleep.
Okay.
Okay? So when you start having these popping up, and if you're dealing with this in recovery, this is one of the ways you start realizing it. And it's no longer to the dialogue of saying, oh, God's teaching you a lesson. Oh, this is teaching you a lesson. No, it's about realizing I need to look at this tremendously. It's not someone outside of me punishing me now. It's me, what's holding me back inside of me that I need to let go of so that this energetic possession can be cut from me. I can integrate the lesson, release it with love, and move forward in my purpose. Because ultimately, that's what it's there for.
Yeah.
Every single time we come down from source, and you decided to become Tori, you decided to become this queen in this timeline, right?
I did, yes.
Yes. You made the agreement to source that you're going to take on a divine soul frequency song. And everything that is stopping you from having that divine soul frequency song is what you manifested within this timeline to work through so that you can add, release, and become part of the orchestra of the frequency of Earth by stepping into your purpose. If you're not stepping into your purpose and you're still allowing these things that you agreed to in this timeline to weigh you down, well then you're going to add to that frequency of the Earth also, and you're not going to step into your purpose. And you're going to continue to find these same stumbling blocks and relationship patterns and communication patterns and financial patterns and scarcity patterns that are all tied to these statics from your original divine song. So the clearer you get with dealing with your stuff here, the clearer your frequency gets. I tell people all the time, your spirit, which is who you are here, your job is to ground, because your soul's job is to evolve. So all the shit you're dealing with here now is for you to ground and work through so that your consciousness can evolve higher, and you can be clearer in your alchemy to create, to manifest, and to be your purpose.
It's amazing. Now, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about how to protect yourself on here. So let's dive into that one.
Yeah. Protection's huge. Huge one. So I would definitely recommend, for those of us that are not used to it, is recognizing that you are an electromagnetic being. And because we are all frequency and vibration, everything's going to cling to you guys, and we're constantly interdependently connecting and fluxing with everything on a magnetic level. Science has showed that in the National Institute of Health, they actually coined the phrase the biofield in 2008. And what that is they measured you are extending 4.5 to 6 feet out around you in an electric field. You are
so we're in each other's fields right now.
We're like all up in the field. We're just like fielding each other up right now.
So that's why, like, if you're at the club or anything and there's a lot of people, you were all in so many fields.
Oh, yeah, and you're getting stuck with all their stuff. Because all the stuff that is vibrationally around you, that is drawn energy from your chakras, is being held in your field outside of you. And that field is made up of non-polarity charges, which stabilize and hold your light out of you. And that's what makes your chakras imbalanced or blocked, right? So that's why it's really good to get chakra clearings and balancing and blocks. And that's why you were feeling certain stuff when I was working on you. Mm-hmm. You're like, whoa, my feet, or whoa, this and that.
Yeah.
Because I was literally clearing up the pockets that were siphoning your light and keeping it away from your chakras and bringing it back into you. So a way to clear yourself and take good care of yourself is salt baths. I was telling you this too. Mm-hmm. I literally take it's like a Tupperware container of like a liter size, and I take a fistful of sea salt. If I can't do a salt bath rinse or go to the beach, I'll do this every day for myself if I feel icky too. And I'll just throw a fistful of salt in the warm water inside that little Tupperware container. Throw some essential oils. That's another protector too. There's essential oils that are wonderful for protection. And like some that I love to use that are great ones are patchouli oil. Okay. Cedar oil. Wonderful. Sage oil, Palo Santo oil, clove oil is very good too. Dragon's blood oil is very good also. Lang Lang oil is wonderful too. Those are wonderful protectors for your crown and for your aura itself too. So you toss a couple of drops into that salt, and into the sea salt water, and you let it sit on your shower. take a good shower, cleanse yourself off, turn off your water. After you're done with your water, you take that water cleanse, and I'll speak into it, because water holds consciousness. Dr. Masaru Emoto showed us this in his studies, that water holds consciousness, and your body is 70 to 76% water, you guys. Just to tie you into how much of a contract you made with this earth, the earth
Literally.
is 70 to 76% water. Our molecules at the cellular level, our cells are mostly water-based. Our cells are 98.9% water. So water is extremely important. So you want to speak into your water, that this water is for your protection. This water is to cleanse any energetic siphons that are from your field and release them with love. And I literally will go from my front, sides, and back. And when I do it on my back, I was telling you to do this. Our receivers of our chakras are on the spine. Our transmitters are on the front side. So when I go on my back side and I go with the salt water, I literally visualize that I'm cutting cords on the back side of my chakras, and every cord is going down the sink with that water into the sink. And then I'll go over my hands and my feet, because your hands and your feet are also chakras, receivers, and transmitters. That's a great way to cleanse. Selenite rods. Wonderful ones. You can find these in a lot of crystal stores. This is a master cleanser. For those of us that love crystals, selenite and tourmaline are the two master crystals that never need charging or cleansing. They will charge and cleanse other crystals. So having a selenite wand, especially when you're feeling icky with someone that's kind of weird, just literally cross it over your body, just over your entire body. And holding it is wonderful for your body, because you're eliciting the cellular response of bringing up the trace mineral of selenium in your body. Selenium is a #1 cancer fighter. So 2 Brazil nuts is enough to fight off cancer in your body, because it has such high selenium in it too, by the way.
So why are we not all eating 2 Brazil nuts a day?
Well, because the FDA doesn't want you to get well.
That's... My friend made a TikTok, and this TikTok blew up. And the TikTok was everything that they don't want you to know. And she talks about CMOS, she talks about Oramus, she talks about all the things that it's like, yeah, they don't want you to know these things. And people are going off on her in the worst way. And I was like, dude, I literally want to have you on my podcast to give you an even bigger platform to talk about these things.
Yeah. One of the books that changed my life, because I'm a huge reader, I know that you love to read too, big game changer. When I decided to become vegan, I said, just to do justice to the fact that I honor my vow to source, to protect life and the sanctity of life, I want to not fail at this. So one of the books that changed my life was Dr. Michael Krieger's How Not to Die.
That's literally sitting on my shelf. And I read the first few pages, and I was like, I need to finish this book.
Girl.
I know.
Man. You want to learn.
Just the heart disease.
Oh, my God.
Just the heart disease alone. In the first page. That was it.
And how easy it is to take care of yourself with love. Through food, just like Hippocrates said, let food be thy medicine, let thy medicine be thy food.
Literally. That was my whole quote this week was, it's amazing what starts to happen when you think of food as medicine.
So that's like, when I look at my food, I look at vitamins, I look at trace minerals, I look at amino acids, I look at how am I going to fight off free radicals today, how am I going to detox myself. In my water, I'm putting dandelion, milk thistle, burdock. What else do I put in here? I put ginger, spearmint, tulsi. I detox myself with my water all day long, because water is life.
Yeah.
Again, so yeah, I mean, if you're going to learn to do something, learn to do it right, because you owe it to yourself.
Yeah.
Right? No one set out here to fail. You can let go of your contract to learn things the hard way. You just have to say it.
Yeah. Can learn things the easy way.
Fuck yes.
And who doesn't want that? Apparently a lot of people don't want that, honestly. I mean, they don't, because then they don't make money.
Yeah, well, that's on them. That's for their lifetime to figure their shit out.
Exactly.
And if you want to figure that out, come talk to me then. We'll look at your contracts on the Akashic.
So what made you want to specifically do Akashic? Because there's plenty of energy healing that's chakra aligning or Reiki, like that you can do. What made you specifically want to do Akashic records?
I will have to say that certain healing modalities pick us. And that's something that I learned in this lifetime. And that once I began to work more into it, I found out it is actually aligned to your soul. That's why what I've learned through my work in the Akashic records is that when you leave dark matter with source up there, just for a quick recap on the quantum people, because I'm a quantum nerd.
No, I love it. I'm like, please.
Yeah, so frequency and healing, this is our true source. This is why sound healing is so profound for us, right? No one has ever said coming out of a sound bath, I feel like shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Never.
Pretty much, right? You pretty much always come out going, wow, this is amazing.
I feel so incredible.
Yeah. Because it was your first dimensional self. So when you came out of dark matter with source and you said yes to taking the ride from being in bliss with source and the frequency of unconditional love that is source, to downstep yourself into this reality, your first original self was sound and then light and then this. But before even that, and you said yes, source gave you the opportunity to say, what flavor do you want to be of a soul? Because you're going to add to the frequency of the place you're going to. So what flavor do you want? And you can choose to be a healer. You can choose to be an artist. You can choose to be a person that is a scientist. You can choose to be a whatever it is. And you're going to show up in manifesting that as your core. I like to liken it. What it shows me in the Akashic is that, like, I chose to be as a healer. So all my life, I knew I needed to help people. People were gravitated towards me. They would immediately, like, ever since I was young, they would spill their guts out to me.
Same.
I would always be just like the person who was like, yeah, I get it. And I'd feel their pain. Like, you know.
Yeah.
Right? So you're always going to have that flavor to your soul. It's going to be something that speaks to you very easily. It's almost like a mastery. And that's how you know that's your soul speaking to you. So I knew I always wanted to be a healer. So ever since I was younger, I'd always felt in that healing space. But I knew it was going to have to do something with an evolution of the soul in that level, of that source. So when I said yes to source, to become a soul in this particular space and come from dark matter to first and second degree and third, I said I wanted to be a healer, but I wanted to be a healer that helped activate people into their purpose and to connect them with their starseed lineage. I had no idea that that's what I'd end up doing, and that's exactly what I do in a tremendous way. That had I been told this years ago, I would have been like, yeah, you're on something.
No, and it's crazy how I feel like one of the reasons we were able to go through the session as quickly as we did was because of all the things that have just been thrown at me in my life. Like, you out of nowhere, like, start talking about star seeds. And I remember when that started coming up for me, where someone was like, you're a star seed. And it was someone that was in my life that heavily helped me and guided me in this whole ethereal spiritual world. And she literally looked at me and she was like, you're a star seed. Do you know what that is? And I had no idea at the time. So now I learned so much about it that when you say, oh, well, what, you know what that, like, does that make sense? I'm like, yeah, it actually does. And I don't, like, no one's ever talked to me about that since, but I remember that distinct conversation and why that made sense that I had that back then for it to make sense for me now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So you, in essence, it's just remembering who you are, right? So stepping out from source and becoming sound is one of the ways I started to learn. I stepped into frequency healing and stepped into, like, that was, like I said, it was like when I was counseling, I was that one counselor that would travel with my Tibetan bowls, and, like, even though I didn't really know how to work with them and no one had really taught me how to, I just kind of instinctually started working with it.
Yeah.
And the more I began to fall into alignment with the hunches and suggestions that my soul was telling me or my intuition was telling me, that it's actually your soul, because your soul speaks to you through intuition.
Mm-hmm.
It whispers to you that way. When you listen to it and you lean into it without that fear as much, and you start to build that muscle, things start to fall into place a lot easier. So, like I was saying, we come out of dark matter, and we are, the first dimension is sound. Sound is so wonderful. This sound right here, this is a wonderful way to cleanse yourself too and protect yourself. This is 528 megahertz. So this frequency right here repairs DNA. It's incredible. So we come out of source, we become sound. Second is, as the sound frequencies get denser and the vibration gets denser, you become light, right? And as light gets denser, it goes from fractionated light to solid light, becomes third-dimensional carbon-based matter, which is this, right? So when I began to heal and start to work in healing, sound was my first thing of like really introducing what my purpose was, and sound began to really clear off the static of what was no longer serving me and stopping me from being my purpose. And then I began to slowly evolve, and from there I began to find mentors. I called in mentors. I called in my intuition. I began to lean into my intuition, and I can teach you how to do that too. There's other ways of teaching how to lean into your intuition. It's fun stuff. But so yeah, go with it. Just go with it.
What would you say is the first step for someone wanting to lean more into their intuition and trust themselves?
Okay, so this is a really fun one to do. I love to do this and to show you guys just how badass you are as receivers and transmitters, as electromagnetic beings that you are. Your hands are chakra receivers and transmitters. Okay, for those of us who don't know it, your feet, the same thing. These are actual chakras we have. So our hands have chakras. You can awaken your chakra receivers. This is your transmitter. Your right is your transmitter. Your left is your receiver. You want to awaken the chakras by pressing in the middle of it. So press it, because these are meridians, right? Because I'm also an acupressurist too. I love that stuff.
I didn't know that.
I study meridians too. So not only when I was working on you, do your spirit guides tell me what meridians need unlocking, and then I go from there. That's why you were starting to feel really good too.
I was like, what is happening?
And I use my tuning forks because that is amazing for you. So you want to massage those places in the middle of your hand. And if you are pondering a particular decision that you're really struggling with, kind of like, ooh, it's a yes or a no, it's a yes or a no, and you're struggling with really leaning into your intuition, take 2 pieces of paper or whatever, how many decisions you're going with. If minimum 2 is good, right? 3 is pushing it, it's good, but 2 is good. Put those options on those pieces of paper and put them upside down on a table, swap them around, and boom. Or even have a friend of yours swap them around and not let you see where they are placed. And then place your hand, your receiver hand or your transmitter hand, over one of the papers at a time. And ask yourself, how do I feel with this? How does this feel for me right now? And just check in with yourself. Check in with your gut. Check in your third chakra, because that's where we really are feeling ourselves, right? The biologist Bruce Lipton talks about how all of us have these primary cilia. They're like antennas on our body, and they pick up frequency and vibration. Dr. Masaru Emoto talks about how even if it's written down, we are picking up the frequency and vibration of it because of the water in us. Right? Yeah. So when you activate your chakra receivers, you're activating the consciousness of the water in your body, and you're picking up the frequency of that paper, and you're learning to connect what it's like when your intuition is connected with your body and your chakras and your meridians. So that's a great exercise. And when you least expect it and you find out what one feels the best, you turn it over, and you're going to realize that's the one your intuition was telling you to go to, and follow it. Even if your head says, but, remember, you're building that muscle. And just like any muscle, you don't go to the gym and start off lifting 50 pounds. Yeah. You go to the gym and start off lifting 5 pounds. The same with your intuition. You have to build that communication. So that's a really fun exercise to do to start with.
I love that. Mm-hmm. I feel like, yes, these things do find you, but what would you say to someone who is starting to explore the idea of getting into believing that these things are real, that crystals are real, that herbs can cleanse your body, that food is medicine, that someone is not just standing in your room with a rock waving air around your face? What would you say to that person to kind of awaken that thing in them of like, okay, this might be something that I should explore and not kind of wish away?
Okay, so it's so amazing when we start to recognize these hints. Science calls it quantum entanglement. I don't know, some of you guys may be familiar with it, maybe not you're familiar with it. Einstein developed this theory back in the day, and Robert Fryman looks into it in the science of quantum science of light and matter in his book that he published in 2008, I believe it was, where he looks at quantum entanglement. What that means is anytime a particle has an interaction with another particle, you will feel it, no matter where you're at. An example of this in your everyday life is when you have thought of someone.
They'll text you.
They'll text you. They'll call you. They'll come up on your feed. That is quantum entanglement. Stop thinking it is coincidence.
There are no coincidences.
There is only synchronicities. And your soul does not yell at you in a billboard. Your soul will give you awakenings, but your soul mostly whispers to you and honors your free will enough for you to say, I'm going to listen to that, or I'm not ready for that yet. So you have to actively make the choice to go, okay, this is coming into my field. Like, remember this. If you are watching this right now, you call this in.
Hey, what's up? You rang?
We just happen to be the creatrixes that are in your journey to help you figure that out. Hi.
It's us. The fact that you would even click on this, to be honest, it's a show ran by women, for women, that only speaks to women with a holistic mindset. So the fact that you made it here, right. The algorithm sent you here, right. You know you're looking.
Yeah, you called it in. Your soul called it in to your spirit timeline to awaken, and guess what? That means you're about to level up. So put that crown on straight, Queen. Let's do this.
Literally. So one of the things that I always say that people think is weird is if you are sick, you are either going through an ascension of some sort or you're under psychic attack.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's one of the two. Mm-hmm. Like, yes, your body is run down. However, one of those two things is happening. What is the best way? Because there's all the medicine you can take for your body that they tell you to take, but what's the best way to kind of feel which one it is? Mm-hmm. And if it's an ascension, how to ease it for yourself, or if it's a psychic attack, how to protect yourself.
Okay. So for those of us that are doing a lot of work, and wonderful question, because right now it is extremely important with what's going on. We are in a space right now, y'all, that the consciousness level is going from 3D to 5D, and it's been going on for quite a bit. We thought COVID was actually the onset for it. No, COVID was the all aboard, the train is going.
Yeah. We're going there.
Yeah, we're on it. Buckle up. Okay, so, and especially right now with the portals of the planets that we've been experiencing and just the frequencies that are getting bombarded on us with the 5Gs and all this stuff, we are so sophisticated and so attuned and so easily attacked and prone to these things. If we're not cautious with ourselves, it'll take you out. So please, please, please be mindful of this. To really tune into this, it's, gosh, how can I say this? God. Oh my God, I'm trying to formulate this in a way that could say, when you're leveling up consciousness, recognize that it's your body trying to encapsulate the consciousness that you are asking for. So detoxing yourself is extremely important. Detox as much as possible. Stay away from processed foods. Stay away from negative media. If you are engaging with someone or media, even if it's in the background and it feels like you feel yourself getting agitated, feeling annoyed, feeling restless, feeling like your gut is getting into a bind, guess what? That is your body telling you. It's information saying you need to listen to yourself. I need to take care of myself right now. Pull away, right? If it's psychic attacks, what oftentimes will happen is they will come in verbal attacks. Verbal attacks will come at you, and also in energetic attacks will, verbal attacks, and where we're self-defeating, we're saying bad things to ourselves a lot of times. That's a way that'll keep your vibrations and your frequencies down. Vibrations is not always the appropriate term. It's more about frequencies down and oscillating frequencies. But yeah, so look at that part too. If you feel like your narrative is getting really negative and really dark, pull away from that. And yeah, notice where you're going into places. If you immediately start feeling yourself feel like, I don't like this environment, that is an environmental psychic attack too. Or it could be a situational psychic attack. You got to look around. What am I around? Who am I around? What's going on? What's being triangulated? Is someone fighting? Why am I feeling this? I don't want to own that. You can literally tell yourself, it is not mine to process. You can have that. And own your sovereignty. Take in deep breaths. Visualize starlight energy coming in through your crown chakra. Hold that breath in. Visualize that starlight energy entering all of your body, infusing all of your cells, and then expanding it as a forceful exhale into your auric field, and literally pushing out any darkness away from your field is a good way to do it too. And you can do that with breath. You can do that with thought. If you're not able to do it right away, do it later on, and just take care of yourself. Pull yourself away from whatever you can. And yeah, I mean, that's mainly what's coming through, is just to tell people to take care of their auras with that. Yeah.
Can you see people's auras when you meet them?
I do not have synesthesia. Oftentimes it will come through more so feeling-wise, like the way that clairvoyance, synesthesia is one of the way that you see people's auras. I am a clairvoyant where I see their spirit guides, their entities, and chords, and what chakra colors are coming through for them, but I don't see their aura specifically. There is ways you can develop that, but that's just not a gift I'm worried about right now at this moment. But
it's not when you're called to.
No. But I will be the person that comes up to you if you meet me randomly, or I'll just text you, be like, "Yo, this is happening." Yeah, that person.
You're like checking in with my friends.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I'll drop you a nugget and be like, "Okay, this is what your spirit guide's telling me to tell you in case you haven't heard this yet."
That's amazing, though. And then people are, do you ever encounter someone that like is interested, but then they get real negative with it, where they're like, well, like, why do you think that? Or like they try to fight you on something after they've come to you to speak to their spirit guides?
Unfortunately, I've only had that happen once, and that was because their energetics were to a point, the siphons around them were not ready to let go of them. That's an aspect of the Akashic that's really interesting too, because that means they, at their soul level, was not ready to let go of that siphon either.
Yeah. And
that was really sad, because as a healer, like, that is just like,
you want to heal, and
man,
you know that you can't.
Dude.
In that part.
Yeah, that hurt. That's harsh. So yeah, only once that happened to me. Other than that, most of the time, the stuff that comes through is so on it that there's no denying. Like, there's no way you can go, okay, that was so out there.
Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah, usually, like, right when I was telling you a couple of things, even before meeting you, you're like, whoa.
Literally, before even meeting, I was like, I asked her a bunch of questions in a Q&A. She didn't ask me. I'm like, am I this obvious online?
No.
Literally, I was like, okay, sure, but made sense. So, like, why not?
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you feel you want to share?
You know what? One thing I love to tell people is your vibe and your tribe is a true thing.
Mm-hmm.
I have heard that so many times from people. If you are not madly in love with your tribe, and your tribe is not madly in love with you, and you are not a tribe that is upholding each other in the best and highest good, and cheering each other, and crying with each other, and celebrating each other, then you need to up your tribe, because that means you are selling yourself short. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Can you tell them one more time where to find you online, if you have a website, your social medias?
Yeah, please connect with me. I'd love to serve you. You can look me up on Instagram or Facebook as The Canna Vegan. I'm The Canna Vegan because I'm a certified cannabis coach and vegan nutrition coach also, by the way. And I'm also Soul Healing Energy, so there's two. So if you want to just go with, you don't want to work with the plant medicine stuff and you don't want to be, so much into that, you can come to the Akashic side and come to the Soul Healing Energy and look at the frequencies and find different frequencies to help you out. So my website is www.soulhealing.energy. And I look forward to hearing from anyone and everyone out there and serving you. So thank you.
My parents is soul food coaching.
See? Oh.
That's so insane. As per usual, I'm Tori212 Green on all platforms. Tea with Tori podcast on Instagram. teawithtori.com for all the Q&As and book recommendations. And I will see you spillers next Wednesday. Bye.
Be well.